show.
President, thank you so much for sitting down. Your first interview, we appreciate it. Wow, they rolled out the red carpet. I have video of when Barack Hussein Obama came to China. There wasn't as much pageantry. No. From your perspective, that welcome, how did you interpret that?
Well, we have a relationship, he and I, and we've been working together a long time. We've gotten along well. When I first came here, China was really taking advantage of the United States. He understands that. And now we do great with China, and we have a very good relationship. We have a friendship, really. He's a tremendous leader. He's been here a long time, very powerful, very strong. There's no doubt about it. And we just have a good relationship. I did actually see other people arrive here that not treated so well, but we were treated very well.
So that was meaningful for you?
Well, I mean, if I got out of a plane and nobody was there to greet me, I would say that wouldn't be so cool, because it's really respect for our country. Our country's respected. Look, we're the hottest country right now anywhere in the world. But he and I know each other well, I think beyond maybe that. But we certainly got a very nice greeting, and today was beautiful.
Mr. President, if there was any meeting that I think I would want to be a part of, I would love to have been in that meeting. Rather than me start with a bunch of questions about this and that, and I do have specific questions, in your own words, how did this meeting go? Because you were there a long time.
It was a long meeting. It started off interestingly because they're very organized people. And as you know, we have about 30 of the biggest business leaders in the world.
I cleared my throat for him, and he received my throat with grace. Yeah, one of the funniest parts about this was a statement that Xi Jinping made. A statement that in the room, Trump did not understand, but got very frustrated by after someone explained it to him. Okay? The part that was about America's decline as an empire. Lauren Ipsum, only, wait, what? 26.9% support maintaining the status quo? That's literally wrong. I don't know what poll you're talking about, but this is an absolute misread of the poll. I think you're being fucking disingenuous. It's 60 plus percent. It's like 69% wants to maintain status quo. Hold on. You got boomed because you sent a link without subscribing. Okay. Yeah, you're fucking wrong. Nice. Yes. And you're absolutely wrong. This is a if you're actually hitting if this is an honest read of a real poll that you saw, then it's probably a totally fucking random poll that, yeah, Americans and Taiwanese favor the status quo. Majorities of Taiwanese and Americans support the status quo. A majority of Taiwanese, 60%, say Taiwan should maintain the status quo either permanently or for the time being while deciding on independence and unification based on future circumstances, 26%. 27% prefer independence as either as soon as possible at 5%, or in the future while maintaining status quo for now, 22%. Finally, 7% of Taiwanese prefer to seek unification either as soon as possible at 1%, or in the future while maintaining the status quo for now at 6%. Okay? So while at the end of that bargain, there are more Taiwanese people that want independence, the overwhelming majority say at 60% that they want to maintain the status quo. I don't know why people still fucking hit ridiculous lines. What is this? I think Chatter saw this. Taiwanese preferences of a political future. Yeah, I don't know where this I don't know what this poll is. but it seems to me like an outlier. These come up every stream, so just have it bookmarked at this point. I know. It doesn't matter though. It literally doesn't matter that I bring this up every fucking day.
An official survey finds over 80% of Taiwanese people would prefer that Taiwan and China's relationship remain basically the same. The survey was commissioned by Taiwan's Mainland Affairs Council, which manages relations with China.
Okay, this is the Taiwan Mainland Affairs Council.
Over 70% of respondents disagreed with the statement that Taiwan is part of China, while around 65% believed China's infiltration into Taiwan has become increasingly serious in recent.
It was 8 months ago. Did you compare Taiwan, the size of New Jersey? Anyway, the KMT also holds the most seats in Taiwan, are trying to soften policy towards China while people in here are, they might not say it, advocating for war between two nuclear superpowers. No, they are doing that. They are doing that. No, they're openly doing that. Straight up. There are politicians in fucking Taiwan that are moving in the direction of better relations with mainland China. And there are Americans, sometimes of Taiwanese descent, or Americans in general that are certainly not Chinese and not of Taiwanese descent at all, that are saying, no, like, what do you mean? You have to bleed for this shit. It's so easy to fucking prime an American with a couple lines about liberty and sovereignty and dignity to get them to literally be like, oh yeah, I don't really give a fuck about what happens. I just want war. I mean, fuck. Also, the KMT leaders went to Beijing and met Xi last month. They just want to hang out and do status quo, man. Yeah, you know what I said about that, by the way? I said, wow, this is interesting. Peaceful reunification might actually happen, okay? How interesting. I wonder if America would allow it to happen. And every single person literally treated this as treasonous, as though I'm like, not abiding by the wishes of the Taiwanese. I want every single person in Taiwan to be killed. No, I think you want every single person in Taiwan to be killed, as long as it helps you feel like America is the most powerful nation on the planet. Yeah, USA #1, baby. That's it.
The biggest everything, I mean, you name it, from chips to planes to everything. And they're all here. I didn't invite them. They all wanted to come. And they're all here. And I suggested that before we start the meeting, I'd like to introduce them to you. And they were surprised because it wasn't scheduled. And they looked around, they said, well, and then, we had everybody. I don't want to go into names because I'll leave some out. But there were a lot of guys.
Tim Cook, Elon,
a lot of people.
Musk.
Yeah, we had everybody.
The head of NVIDIA was
Jensen.
here.
We had just everybody. And men and women, all great business, the best. And they said, okay. And they each spoke a little bit and introduced themselves. It's interesting because they do business in China. Most of them do business here, but probably like to do more. And I'd like to see them do more. That would be good for trade and trade balance. And they were fantastic. I'll tell you, they really had a good time. Once the Chinese leadership, because it was President Xi and many other leaders, once they got used to the fact that we're a little off schedule here and we're talking about a subject that wasn't even thought about, but they were outside. I said, I think we can get them in 5 minutes, because they were literally, a few minutes away from the room where we were in the Great Hall. We were in the Great Hall. And they came in and they did fantastically well. It was really good. I think it was He actually said, that was very good. That was a good idea. But it was very different from what the schedule had. And then we went on, and we talked about a lot of different subjects, and I think it was all good.
Let me ask you this. You know, you always say that you have a very good relationship with President Xi, and you say the same thing about Vladimir Putin.
Yeah.
You're America first.
Yeah.
You seem to always understand he's going to be China first.
Yeah, totally.
And so...
He is. He's China first. He wants to make good deals. But having a good relationship is a good thing, not a bad thing. I explain to people, you know, it's great when you have good relationships with very powerful countries, and powerful economically as well as... We have the most... I built, in my first term, the greatest military in the world. We have the greatest military in the world. We proved that with Venezuela. We proved it with Iran. Iran's wiped out militarily. It's just a question of time. And, you know, we gave them a break by stopping a little while. We have a blockade. They have no boats are going in. No boats are even thinking about it. We talked about it today. It's very interesting. But they're impressed. We have a great military. We have the greatest military we've ever had, but we have the greatest military anywhere in the world. I built it in the first term. A little was given away by Biden to Afghanistan. And as much as it was a lot, but it's a very little.
Obliterated.
What we have. We have a country that is respected. Our country 2 years ago, if Biden came here, I don't even think he would get a meeting with President Xi. I don't think they'd even meet with him.
I don't know if he'd be able to focus long enough in the meeting.
You know what? He wouldn't come here. But assuming he came, I don't know that he'd even have a meeting. It's amazing. Actually, a lot of people, I noticed even with the business leaders, they're the biggest businessmen in the world, and women, a couple of women. And most of them, almost all of them, but most of them never met President Xi. This was the first time they've met him. So they found it exciting. They all performed very well. They all spoke. And I said, that's a little different position for them because they're hot stuff back in our country. But here they are, they're standing in front of this, you know, massive country, the leadership. But they really performed well, I thought.
You have in the past described President Xi to me as very tough, all business.
Yeah.
You're not describing the type of business that he normally used to do. Do you think that your relationship has evolved to the point where, he can go along with your spontaneity?
I think he's a warm person, actually, but he's all business. He's, you know, there's no games, there's no talking about how nice the weather is. Oh, let's look at the stars, let's look at the sun, you know. No, he's all business, and that's, I like that. I mean, that's a good thing. No games. I say it about him, and I could say it about some, not as complimentary, frankly, for the most part. But I say about him that if you went to Hollywood and you looked for a leader of China to play a role in a movie,
central casting.
He's central casting. You couldn't find a guy like him. Even his physical features. You know, he's tall, very tall. And especially for this country, because they tend to be a little bit shorter. You look at the military. I mean, the military today was incredible. That military marching was incredible. But no, if you went to Hollywood, you're not going to find a guy to play the role. He's good. And he's, you know, I mean.
I'm going to be honest, dude. I don't think Trump is going to commit to any of the shit that he's saying here. But it's not bad. Like, it's hard for me to look at what's going on. It's hard for me to look at what's fucking going on here and act like this is like a bad way to go about it. This is a genuine improvement to our previous posture against a country that is responsible for 30% of our trade. Okay? At the end of the day, this is what I care about.
Not war, not war, not war. Just peace, just peace, just peace. Forever, forever, forever. Peace forever. No crazy war. No crazy. No crazy.
No crazy war.
I'll get criticized. They always criticize me when I say good things about certain leaders, and this one. But he's a leader for China.
Where was his energy when he was slamming the tariff button? I think this energy came because he slammed the tariff button. Dude, only time will tell, but judging by his current actions in China, I get the feeling in a couple months he might be talking about Iran this way too. Okay? Because he already hit that button with China, and then it turns out China did have hands, as I told you, right? Because he overestimated American economic power, and he thought he could force China to submit. China didn't back down. China actually fought fire with fire for a little bit. Okay? And then look at the way he's talking about China. Give it a couple months. He might be talking about Iran in a similar fashion as well. Because if you remember in the beginning, he was talking a very different game about China. Hasan, you're doing Chinese propaganda when you say we shouldn't go to war with China. I know that's unironically what a lot of liberals' attitudes have been so far. It's unbelievable. There was one guy who was like an OSINT guy who straight up said, "Oh, Hasan probably got peaceful, it's like a peaceful coexistence from reading too many Chinese think tank newspapers or some shit like that." Where was it? Like this. This is what I said. Peaceful coexistence and cooperation. I wonder where I've heard that buzzword before several times a week for years. What a quirky choice of language that seems to be pretty damn revealing. And I said, or I legitimately think that we should peacefully coexist with one of our largest trading partners. It's not exactly a new mentality in international relations. It's a fine mentality. I hope that it can apply to Taiwan, but I do know Beijing MFA blob speak when I see it, and boy, does that phrase sound familiar. As obvious blob speak as calling Venezuela's invasion a limited operation to support a democratic transition and regional stability. It's not. It's not MFA blob speak. It's just literally a normal phrase to deploy here. It's one that is my own personal opinion. He's saying I'm like repeating verbatim the Chinese government's Chinese intelligence. I'm repeatedly I am saying what the Chinese intelligence wants me to say. That's the implication here, right? That's the argument that he's presenting. And he's using blob speak, which is oftentimes utilized against people like, people in the CIA circles, as though like there is any sort of foothold that MFA has amongst the American intelligentsia. It's an unbelievably, dare I say, hysterically paranoid position to have. What is blob speak supposed to mean? Blob is the foreign intel. Blob here is supposed to imply the NatSec side, okay? National security think tanks, the American foreign policy apparatus. That is what is oftentimes referred to as blob. Okay? I think it was like who initially. Yeah, it's in Washington, D.C., here's the AI overview for you. The blob is a derogatory, affectionate nickname for the bipartisan elite foreign policy establishment. It refers to the entrenched network of government officials, diplomats, military experts, think tank scholars, and lobbyists who dominate U.S. foreign policy relations. It was first popularized. It's a Ben Rhodes take. It's first popularized by the Obama administration. It is a term to describe the groupthink within Beltway that favors military intervention. And it's ironic that that guy is deploying it towards me, saying this is blob speak for MFA-backed lobbying groups. When in fact, it's me cutting away from the blob, which is the uniparty attitude towards China, which is saber rattling, increased saber rattling, and claiming that it's me getting Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs, MFA, Ministry of Foreign Affairs for China. MFA, Ministry, God damn. No, it's not multi-factor authentication, and it's not fucking Master of Fine Arts. Ministry of Foreign Affairs for China. Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
I know. He's led
Fuck!
almost 1.5 billion.
Sometimes I want to quit altogether. God damn. I can't tell if Chad's trying to be fucking funny or they're just like genuinely that stupid. Holy fuck.
People for a long time, and he's respected. It's sort of interesting when the fake news said, he said, they'll say, President Trump said that President Xi was a brilliant leader. That's a terrible thing. What am I going to do? But it's, you saw the response, you saw here's the thing. Those business people are here to make deals and to bring back jobs. They're bringing back massive numbers. China's going to invest hundreds of billions of dollars with those people that were in that room today. That's why they came. It was really an honor. We had just about every major business leader in there.
Yeah, I mean, the list was impressive. There's no doubt about it. So maybe to give people some insight into how you act in these situations. You're representing our country. You're the president of our country. And we get to watch you on a regular basis, something that the media did not get a lot of access to when Joe Biden was president. But we watch you.
He never did it.
Well,
and when he did do it, it was a disaster. Okay, so almost 100% of the time, it was a disaster.
Pretty much.
It was a terrible thing for our country. It can't be represented like that. Our country was laughed at. 2 years ago, our country was laughed at. We felt like a stupid country. We were scorned. We were mocked. We were taken advantage of in trade and every other way. I mean, look at what happened with Afghanistan. We left all that, billions of dollars of equipment behind. Could have taken it. It was just unbelievable. There's no reason to do that. It's just all of a sudden and leave it. No, we were a country with the highest inflation in history. When they talk about high prices, I inherited the high prices. I'm getting them down. I've got them down incredibly. In fact, if I didn't make the little excursion to the country of Iran, I had to do it. We just hit the highest stock market ever, which, by the way, now we're now higher than we were before the war started. And oil went up very little compared to what most people, even including me, I thought it would go up more. But that was okay for a short period of time because we cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. They're crazy.
I'm going to get to that.
You can't let them have a nuclear weapon. They would use it. There'd be no Israel. There'd be no Middle East. There'd be no Europe. And they come at us too. Because you know why? They're crazy.
I'm going to get back to Iran. Let me go to the media and Donald Trump and then the person and give people insight into the guy that sits in the room across from the leader of China, 1.5 billion people. We watch you almost daily with the media, and I think you enjoy it. You bring them in, they have gaggles, you keep them there for a long period of time. Probably.
It's not that I enjoy it.
You don't enjoy it?
No.
You seem like you do.
Well, every question's a kill. They're always going for the kill. Every question, you see these people with a hatred. I said, you have such hatred when you ask the question. Why? Because I have a strong border? Because I have a good military? Why do you have such hatred? The whole thing is crazy. It's not that I enjoy it. It's that I can get the word out because I don't get the word out. I mean, look, Fox is great, and, we have some that are good. But overall, if you read the New York Times, you actually think we're losing or not doing well in Iran. They have no Navy. They have no Air Force. It's gone. It's just a question of time. If we want, we stopped. Could have gone for another few weeks. It would have been over. I did that at the request of a lot of leaders that are friendly with them. It's not going to matter for them. They're finished. Now they can make a deal or they get annihilated. I don't want to do that. Yeah. But we have the greatest military. And, when you...
I'm going to make another comparison between the tariffs faucet that he opened up on Liberation Day and the way that he was communicating about China when he started the Liberation Day shit versus how he talks about China now. Think about that. While the Liberation Day kickoff was taking place, he kept saying over and over again, "Pah, China's got nothing. We're destroying them. We're destroying their economy. It's over. I don't want to destroy their economy, but I will." Right? That was only a year ago. A lot changed in that year. A lot changed that year when China didn't back away. Right? Trump is like an animal. Sometimes you just have to literally be louder and stronger than the animal to help the animal understand who's the big dog in the room. When Liberation Day failed and he backed away from the maximum tariffs, no, Trump is not an animal. No, he behaves like a fucking animal. These guys all do. So does Israel, for the record. Don't insult animals. No, I'm just saying, like, they have a might makes right, law of the jungle view of the world. It's very clear. When China turned around and said place to Donald Trump on the tariff shit, look at the way he's behaving now. Look at the way he talks about China now. Let's be fucking real. Iran is doing the same thing right now. So I genuinely think, regardless of the Israel part of this equation, which is not insignificant, I think that Donald Trump's attitude on Iran and the way he communicates on Iran will shift a lot. They placated the American president with an old tree. It's very important.
When you do news conferences, you're getting the word out that you're not going to read in the New York Times. I mean, I read these things. I see some of your other networks, the way they cover, they will take a massive military victory and make it like we should have done it faster. The one thing they couldn't complain about was Venezuela because it was over in one day. So we're comparing it to.
So here's my question.
You know, as an example, Vietnam lasted for 19 years, right?
It did.
I think Iraq was 10 years. Thousands and thousands of people killed there. Many, many thousands in Vietnam. And we have, sadly, we've lost, in 2 wars, we've lost 13 people. 13. That's 13 people too many. But we've lost 13 as opposed to 75,000, as opposed to 50,000, as opposed to numbers that are staggering. Think of it. We're 19 years in Vietnam. Every war, we're 4 years, 8 years, 9 years. Iraq was 10 years. We're on all these wars. I've never, like a couple of months, and the Navy's gone. They have 159 ships. Every single one of them is now happily floating or not floating on the bottom of the sea. No, every one. They have no Air Force. They had a nice Air Force. They don't anymore. They have no Air Force. They have no anti-aircraft. Now, they probably have. I mean, we know everything they've done. They built it up a little bit. We'll take it out in one day. It'll all be gone. I hope they're watching because all of their anti-stuff, anything they put up, we know exactly what they put up. You know, they had a little respite. And so they're trying to get a few things together. They have taken some missiles from underground. We know exactly what they're doing. It'll all be gone in one day. Everything they've done for the last 4 weeks will be gone in one day. But when you read some of these horrible papers, if you watch CNN as an example, or that other one, they used to go to MSDNC, now it's MS Now. And they got rid of it because it was such an embarrassment. It gets no ratings. CNN is...
Dumbocrats is bad. He's lost his fastball. I'll say it. it pains me to recognize this, but it's kind of like watching LeBron in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Every now and then there's a turnover and you're like, I've never seen that. I've never seen that from my GOAT.
Just been destroyed.
You were pretty funny the other day. You were in the Oval Office and you go, I think whatever I want to do, I'm going to say the opposite. Then I'll get what I want.
It took me a while,
But by the way, there's probably some...
No, I'm going to announce what I don't want. I'll be able to get it. They'll immediately, I'll say, we will not build a wall. We will not because I built over 1,000 miles of wall. People don't even talk about it. We have the safest southern border in the history of our country. We have the safest border in the world other than North Korea. I tell you, North Korea has a pretty safe border too. They've got 5 fences that are fully electrocuted.
You were at that border.
I saw it. There's never been anyone. There was one person that got through, but he ended up dying about 10 feet as he got through.
All right, thanks for watching. Check out my new podcast.
Yeah, I check out your new podcast by being on it, Sean. Why the fuck did you push it back, Sean?
All right, we continue my interview with President Trump for the full hour. Now, of course, this was right after his all-important meeting with President Xi as we continue our interview. Let me go to the issue of trade, tariffs, intellectual property theft. I'm sure, especially with all those big business people you brought in, those are big. Any progress you can report?
Yeah, I mean, it is progress, but I also tell people that, I was on an interview with a very bad, stupid reporter. She works for CBS. You saw that 60 Minutes. Stupid person, just an average person. You could take anybody off the street and it'd be as good as she is, just very average. And she asked me a question.
Yeah.
She's talked about China and this and that they steal this and they steal that. And I said, yeah, we do it to them too. They spy on us. I said, we spy on them too, I guess, So some people thought that was cute. Other people said, you don't have to say that. I said, I sort of do. No, we do things and they do things, and that's the way it is. Now, with that being said, I spoke to him very strongly about that, and I'd like to see it taken care of. But they've been doing that for 50 years.
Will we see a change? In other words, will there be an improvement with trade?
Fentanyl is way down coming into the country for 2 reasons. The borders.
Sean's coming after the white Chinese title. Yeah, I saw this. Oh my God, he's at least 10% more Chinese. Yeah. He's becoming more Chinese by the moment, dude. He wants to be just like me, bro. I mean, let's be real. Could you please check logs? Check this out. When mom find the poop sock, take an hour off. Really reconsider the things that you're doing.
Strong, but it's also down because they're sending less. We taxed them. I gave them a 20% tariff, and because of fentanyl, it was like a penalty. Nobody ever did that. You didn't know that probably. I gave them a 20% tariff because they're sending fentanyl. It's a huge amount of money. I actually said, the tariff is costing you $200 billion, and you make $200 million, much less, a small percentage from the sale. I think from the sale of the fentanyl. And so fentanyl is used for a lot of different reasons, but the bad reason probably outweighs the good. That fentanyl is used for a lot of, you go into fentanyl, it's used for a lot of different things, including operations, et cetera, but it's been a disaster. But as you know, I put on a charge of 20%, a tariff of 20%. Nobody else would do that. And we do well with China, and I think we'll both do well. These people really what I'd like to see, China doesn't open the country. It's massive. It would be unbelievable for our companies if they opened it, and I think it would be good for China too.
Any indication they will open?
Well, they're going to open some of it, yeah. They open it in stages. I'd like to just see them open it. But, they guard their country, and they he cherishes his country. He wants to take, he wants China.
Is the song going to be coming up on the Dean Obeidallah show? Yes. What is Rep Bonnie? I will be. Damn, we got some serious XM boomers in here. We got some Dean Obeidallah heads. I think you guys will like my appearance on it too. I had a really, really good conversation.
To be,
What does he want from you? What does he want?
I did it earlier this morning.
Greatest phrase of all time. But
what does he want from us?
They have a similar.
What does he want from the U.S.?
A lot of things. We talked about a lot of things. Too many things to discuss, but a lot of things. We had a very good meeting, but we want things from them. One thing he agreed to today is going to order 200 jets. That's a big thing, Boeing's. 200 big ones. That's a lot of jobs. It's a lot. Boeing wanted 150, he got 200. He said, I think it was a commitment. I mean, sort of like a statement, but I think it was a commitment. It's a great thing. It's a lot of jobs. Boeing's doing a good job. They're catching up. The requests were a lot, and our requests were a lot. We requested for a lot. We have Visa, which is not allowed to trade, and they were there. It was a big company, and other companies are allowed to trade. And I said, what about letting Visa? We had the head of Visa there today, by the way. Visa's a big deal. I said, what about using Visa in China? For some reason, they were blackballed. And maybe that'll come off. So we had a lot of, we were in there for a few hours, right? Long time.
Do you think you made progress? Did you feel like that the give and take?
Sure,
well, for example, you're not going to sign this big agreement after hours meeting, but do you feel the foundation was laid for great
tremendous.
success?
Better than last time. Last time we signed like 36 deals. This time it's much bigger than that. Talked about soybeans for our farmers. They're going to do a lot of soybeans for our farmers.
They're going to spend a lot of money. They're going to build factories on U.S. soil, soybeans for our farmers. Interesting. Again, another moment, another incredible Trump move, by the way. Just eviscerated soybean production in the country. When China was like, all right, bet, thank you for the Liberation Day. We're now going to buy all of our fucking soybeans from Brazil and Argentina. Coming up on the Dean Obeidallah show, Rep Body at Hassan the Hun. What just happened with Liz Meal and V. Safar? Spihar. That's right. Chatter just copy pasted this fucking Sirius XM Blue Sky aggregator, I think.
They're gonna be buying a lot of our farm product, which is great. They have an unlimited appetite, as the expression goes. They can buy as much as they. When you have that many people, they need it, and we have the best product. We're the best, sort of the best of everything, and they'll be doing that. Very farmer to me is very. I must have gotten 95% of the farm vote. And by the way, we just signed the farm bill, or we just approved the farm bill in Congress, which a lot of people thought was not going to happen. The Democrats are against farmers. You believe it? I say, how can they be against? Add that to the men and women's sports center. The Democrats are against farmers. Can you believe it? So anyway, they're defective. I came up with a new name. I don't know if I should.
I know which one it is.
Democrat.
Oh God. No, don't do it. Sean Hannity is doing his best here and it's not working. Sean Hannity, Marco Rubio, and Sean Hannity.
Because they're dumb. They're dumb. It's D-U-M. I got rid of the B. So you're only changing one letter, right? E goes and the U comes. It's a Democrat.
You take up more space in people's heads than any one person on the face of this earth, right? You live rent-free.
I was talking about a guy, Hakeem Jeffries. He's a very low IQ individual. And I talked about him. I said, he's a dumb guy.
Sean
He's a Democrat. And I said, oh, what a great name for this. So
let me ask you this. The issue, and you've been asked about it, and you've spoken about it, and that is China's support of Iran. How big a discussion was that today?
We discussed it. I mean, when you say support, they're not fighting a war with us or anything.
No.
He said he's not going to give military equipment. That's a big statement. He said that today. That's a big statement. He said that strongly. But at the same time, he said, you know, they buy a lot of their oil there, and they'd like to keep doing that. He'd like to see Hormuz Strait opened. I said, well, we didn't stop it. They did it, then we stopped them. You know, sort of interesting. He joked. He said, you know, it's sort of, if they stopped it, then you stopped them. But they'd like to see it opened. But they actually closed it. He didn't like the fact that they're charging tolls. I don't know if they are or not. I don't know who would pay them. I mean, where do they put the money? The country's decimated. You know, they're charging tolls. Where's the money going?
Do you think President Xi and China have the ability to influence the Iranians, considering they are one of their biggest
probably,
customers?
But look, he's not coming in with guns. He's not coming in with rifles. They're not coming in shooting. You know, somebody said he's been very good. They get a lot of their oil, 40% of their oil from that location. So what has happened, and one thing I think that we're going to make a deal on, they've agreed they want to buy oil from the United States. They're going to go to Texas. We're going to start sending Chinese ships to Texas and to Louisiana and to Alaska. And I think that was another thing that was agreed to. That's a big thing.
What about liquefied natural gas?
It's not that much longer.
Gas, too?
Yeah, everything. Energy.
Energy.
That's the one thing. They really need energy. That's the one thing. They have an insatiable appetite for energy, and we have unlimited energy. Do you know, we've now, under me, but we now produce more than, if you combine Saudi Arabia, and before the war, if you took Saudi Arabia, Russia, put them together, we're doing twice as much oil and gas as they are. Think of that. It's amazing.
Venezuela
that
was we're two.
Called drill, baby drill, right?
Oh, well, I mean, when you really think about it, if they have a problem with Iran, and they need the strait more than we need it open.
We don't need it at all.
We don't need it at all.
We don't need it at all.
Fair enough. So,
I mean, you could make the case, you know, like, why are we even? We're doing it to help Israel and to help Saudi Arabia and to help Qatar and UAE and, you know, Kuwait and other countries, Bahrain.
It also helps China.
And I told them today, I said, you know, we're helping you. And we're helping you in another way because I don't think China wants Iran to have a nuclear weapon either. I said, they're stone cold crazy. You don't need them having a nuclear weapon either.
What did he say? What did he say?
Well, he's not going to respond too much. He's pretty cool.
Trump's interview with Bear is now airing on Fox News. Oh, hell yeah. I have a sneaking suspicion Bear got China pilled a little bit.
Big ones, big, beautiful Boeing planes, 200, that's a lot.
They caught him.
With a commitment that
they caught Bear playing ping pong with the locals, dude. And he was apparently whipping ass, too.
Engines, which are great. Yeah, if they do a good job, we could go up to 750.
And that's obviously a lot of investment going back and forth. You know, some Democrats, even some Republicans, had some concerns about Chinese manufacturing on U.S. soil. Is that happening?
Well, if they don't want to pay tariffs, it could happen, just like it's happening with other countries and companies. We have now more money being invested in the United States than any country at any time in the history of the world, including China, which probably is second from about 10 years ago. We have $18 trillion in 11 months, not the 12th month hasn't come in yet, the numbers. We have $18 trillion. If China wants to come in and wants to avoid tariffs, if they build here, for the most part, they're going to be hiring American people. If they want to avoid tariffs, they're going to build in the United States.
Despite concerns about China operating inside the U.S.
Look, we have Japan is building massive, Toyota, Honda, all of them. I mean, they're building massive plants all over the country. So if China wants to build for their cars, now, I will tell you, I put 100% tariff on Chinese cars because I didn't want them coming into the country. If you take a look, only because they swamp you. They'll destroy your auto industry. And that's what's happening in Europe. And now they're saying we have to do a little bit like Donald Trump. Europe is being killed. They're being absolutely swamped by hundreds of thousands, millions of Chinese cars, and Mercedes and BMW and Volkswagen. They're getting killed. So if you notice, we haven't had that problem. You know why? Because I have 100% tariff on cars made in China.
And even though the Supreme Court ruling, you're going to still continue that tariff?
The ruling was just on a specific type of tariffs.
And you're going a different route.
Correct. I have the right to do the same tariff in, frankly, a little bit more complex way, but it's actually a better tariff. It's a more stringent tariff.
I want to ask you about Iran and AI, but China made clear that Taiwan is very important to them. And after your first meeting here, President Xi's spokesman put out a statement to the media, through the media, saying this: the Taiwan question is the most important
this is
issue
a good
in
way to
China-US
ask this
relations.
question.
If it is handled properly, the bilateral relationship will enjoy overall stability. Otherwise, the two countries will have clashes and even conflicts, putting the entire relationship in great jeopardy. You were still inside the meeting when that came out. That sounded almost like a threat. Was it communicated that way behind closed doors?
No, it wasn't, not at all. But it has always been their most important issue. And it's not a takeover. They just don't want to see this place, we'll call it a place because nobody knows how to define it, but they don't want to see it go independent. They don't want to do it. And I think they probably would do something pretty harsh, and then they would be met harshly, and bad things will happen. No, it's not that.
Secular Talk, give me better coverage of news these days. Disappointing than me. Why are you pitting me against Secular Talk? The fuck? I love Secular Talk.
I've known him now 11 years, 12 years. It's always been the biggest thing for him, Taiwan. Now, with me, I don't think
I swear to God, people just get fucking bored on the stream, bro. They get bored and they just want to like make drama for some fucking weird reason. The fuck? Yeah, that's the woke Comandante Che Guevara, dude. I'm not. Okay, so why the fuck did you say this then?
I'd like to see it stay the way it is, and I'll tell you something.
What do you want me to do, bleach my hair?
I'll make a little news. I'd like to see everybody making chips over in Taiwan come into America, because to be honest with you, I think it's the greatest thing you can do, because it's a heated situation. There's no question about it. And as you know, we have massive amounts of chip companies now from Taiwan already coming in. We expect to have 40 to 50% of the world chip business by the end of my term. And I think it should be even more than that. I think all of those chip companies, if they're smart, they're going to start heading to Arizona and the places where they're building. That's going to solve your problem.
Should the people of Taiwan feel more or less secure after your meetings with President Xi?
Neutral. Neutral.
Has the policy changed at all?
No, nothing's changed.
U.S. policy?
No, nothing's changed. I will say this. I'm not looking to have somebody go independent and, we're supposed to travel 9,500 miles to fight a war. I'm not looking for that. I want them to cool.
Go ahead. Explain what you mean, dumbass. What fucking drama has taken place in the last 4 hours on this broadcast? Where has there been drama in the last 4 hours of this broadcast? Go ahead. No vague generalizations, no vague statements. I'm done. I'm done with this shit. We're just, if you do vague posts, if you vague posts in this fucking chat, I'm just going to start banning people. Okay? What is the excess of drama? Where was the drama? We've mostly covered the Trump Beijing summit so far.
Say like is maybe too strong a word, because he thinks I could do it with just the signing of my signature, unlike Biden, who couldn't sign his signature. No, I'm holding that in abeyance, and it depends on China. It depends. It's a very good negotiating chip for us, frankly. It's a lot of weapons. It's $12 billion. It's a lot of weapons. But, when you look at the odds, China's a very, very powerful, big country. That's a very small island. It's, you think of it, it's 59 miles away, 59 miles. We're 9,500 miles away.
Bro, still vague. The drama you're supposed to cover about people complaining about you, still vague, bro. Oh my God, I'm going to lose my fucking mind. Take a second off, reconsider, come back with actually like the exact thing you're talking about.
Developed because we had presidents that didn't know what the hell they were doing. Because if they would have put tariffs on chips coming in, they would have never left. Everything was about Intel, and everything was about our chip companies. They stole our chip industry. So I've said that for years. I said, for years they stole our chip. If we would have had one of our presidents just say, we're going to say We're going to put 100% chip. You can leave, you can build in Taiwan, but you sell it back into the United States. We're going to put 100% or 200% tariff. We would have never lost a chip. We lost the chip industry. It's all coming back. And I do say this, Taiwan would be very smart to cool it a little bit. China would be very smart to cool it a little bit. They ought to both cool it.
On AI, was there any agreement about any kind of guardrails that China and the U.S. might agree to so that AI doesn't go crazy and
well,
take
we
over
talked
the world?
about it. Yeah, we talked about it. Look, AI is mostly a great thing. Mostly. And we're leading China. We talked about that. We're leading China by a lot. I gave the right for AI to build their own electric producing plants. That's a big deal. They can manufacture their own electricity now, which we could never have gotten from the grid. And now you have these very rich companies headed by lots of geniuses building electric plants. Because of that, we are leading China by a lot in the AI race. Now, it's mostly the two of us. Other nations are in it, but mostly. And whoever wins the AI race, and we're going to win it. I mean, if we're smart, we're going to win it. If we're not smart, we're not. But we're leading by a lot. We talked about that last night. President Xi was very surprised at how well we've done with AI, because they thought, when it started, they took this gigantic lead. And we now we are substantially ahead of them in AI.
But do you think there'll be some buy-in, set up guardrails or something?
I think there could be. We talked about it. But, at the same time, we're competing. So it's a little hard to say, oh, gee, we're competing with each other and we're going to put guardrails. It really doesn't work that way too much. But AI, if you look at medicine, some of the things they're coming up with medicine, some of the cures they're coming up with that people would have never gotten there, it's going to be mostly a good thing, but we want to have some guardrails.
You said that the President Xi said he would offer assistance on Iran, and specifically...
I also said we don't need assistance.
You didn't ask for it. You said he was offering it, specifically to open the Strait of Hormuz. What do you think he will do?
I think he's been very nice about it. He gets 40% of his oil there. He didn't send anybody. He didn't send ships. He didn't send ships with big fat guns on them that we would have had to repel.
What?
We would have. The good thing is I built, during my first 4 years, the most powerful military in the world.
What is he saying? China didn't send one of its few aircraft carriers or some shit?
Let's see, about 48 minutes. I think it was 48 minutes and 13 seconds, and it was over. And it's a strong country with a strong military, but it went very quickly. And now, by the way, we have made a fortune with their oil. And so have they. They've made more money in the last 8 months than they've made in the last 10 years. And we're really, participating in the profit.
Venezuela, but obviously Iran is
it's a different kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But we're doing probably almost as well as I don't know how you can do better. They have no navy. They have no air force. It's all destroyed. Their air force is destroyed.
But yet they're talking a big game.
They're talking a big game.
Iran's foreign minister said the Strait is open to commercial shipping only if they cooperate with the Iranians.
They're not talking a big game. You know who's talking a big game?
They put a Rakshi photo that has even more aura.
That we're losing militarily. Think of it. They have 159 ships. Every one is now on the bottom of the sea. Every one of them is gone. They had mine droppers. They call them mine droppers. Nice thing. Who has 22 mine droppers? The mine droppers are all gone. Now they have what they call fast boats. You know what they are? Runabouts, like you'd buy for your fantastic son if you wanted to buy him a nice boat, and they put a machine gun on it, okay? Most of them are knocked out. We knock them out just like we knock out the drug dealers.
You like to talk about cards. It seems like they're playing with a bad deck, to your point.
They have no deck.
But they're still playing.
No, the only thing they have going is a fake press. They know how well we're doing militarily. And then at the request of a very nice group of people from Pakistan who are very close to Iran, I didn't go that final. They said, could you stop? We're going to make a deal. And we really had the confines of a deal. No nuclear. They were going to give us the dust, nuclear dust, everything we wanted. And every time they make a deal, the next day it's like, we didn't have that conversation. And that's taken place about 5 times. There's something wrong with them. Actually, they're crazy. And you know what? Because of that, they cannot have a nuclear weapon. Because
the president of China agrees with you on that. And
he agrees with me on that. He agrees with me that he wants to see it end. He'd like to see it end. He would like to help. If he wants help, that's great. But we don't need help. And you know the problem with help? When somebody helps you, they always want something on the other side. That's the way help works.
Hard to believe, but it was 1 year ago today in UAE, interviewed you, and I asked you about Iran. How do you get to a solution there?
Oh, we'll get 100%.
You think so?
Well, we're going to have a solution one way or the other.
Awesome.
It's either going to be violent or not
Background
violent.
shift.
And I far prefer nonviolent. Sure.
Obviously, you've
By the
explained.
way, perfect answer.
You've explained why you did what you did because of the nuclear threat for Iran. But you know, it's obviously not Venezuela. It's different.
Well, it's different, but
you did say it was going to be fairly quick. I mean, you said it numerous times.
Venezuela was sending drugs in at a level that was terrible, and they did something that was a terrible, mortal sin. They emptied their prisons into our country. Okay, that was terrible, and that was different. This one is, I guess you could say, worse. That was pretty bad. You don't get much worse. Emptying your prisons, drug dealers, murderers into our country, that's pretty bad. But you could say this is worse. In this one, they are trying to make a nuclear weapon. I've stopped it twice. They would have had it 2 years ago. They would have used it already on Israel and the rest of the Middle East. Look at all the missiles shot at people that didn't think they were even involved. Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, look at all. I mean, Bahrain, Kuwait, they got all shot at. Nobody thought they were even involved in this thing. They would have used a nuclear weapon on the Middle East. One thing I'll make clear right now, they said very specifically, because I deal with them, I said, we're taking the nuclear dust. They said, you can have it. I said, we're going to go get it. We're not going to let you take it. They said, we can't take it. We don't have the capability of taking it. I said, why? I said, because
Iran is demanding help from us.
Literally collapsed on it, a granite mountain.
So
just like China said, I'm the hottest president. She said it, not me. And he said the truth. He said, I'm so sexy. And Iran is always saying, can you please come and take this nuclear dust?
You know, it's important. It's probably good enough for a different reason, though. Space Force, which I created, has got cameras, 9 different cameras in space on that site. We know everybody that moves there. We can read the name of a person. We can need, if his name is Mohammed something, and most of them are Mohammed, you can guess, about 50% right. We can read his name right on his tag from space. It's the most amazing thing.
What?
Anybody that goes near that space, we have it tagged. They haven't done anything there. And if they did, we would hit them very hard. So 2 days ago, in speaking to the Iranians, they told me it was hit so hard. They actually said, I must say, that there's only 2 countries that could get it, us and China.
Right.
They said us and China, that they don't have the capability of getting it because it was so obliterated. The term I used was obliterated. The fake news said, oh, maybe somebody can get it. They
Look at the community note on this one.
If they wanted to get it, they couldn't. So
Hassan actively pushes Chinese imperialism, denies CCP involvement in Uyghur genocide, and promotes militaristic takeover of Taiwan. Wait, what? What does this have anything to do with what I'm saying here? Like, community notes are supposed to be meaningful about the thing that I'm talking about. Okay? I'm not making an assessment on support for unification here at all. I mean, okay, man. Great. Yes, I'm a Chinese imperialist, dude. Totally. That's what this is. God, I hate that the most like annoying thing that has happened beyond Twitter being a fucking neo-Nazi shithole, which is the ultimate most annoying thing, is that the liberals that remain on the platform are also some of the most unvarnished imperialist nuisance liberals. It's just so fucking frustrating. It's very rare to have the entirety of the liberal and left coalition united on Twitter. Everyone has knives out for one another. It's intentional. It's just, I fucking hate everything, man. I was in such a goddamn good mood, too. I was in such a good mood when we first started. And now I'm in a horrible mood. Bro, the libs on Blue Sky are just as bad. I guess it makes sense. Look, I'm no stranger. DGG is super active on community notes, and they've effectively taken over the community notes subreddit. Great. Fantastic. Good for them. I don't know what else to say. Nobody gives a fuck about community notes on Twitter other than the people who are making the community notes on Twitter. That Lilith chick is a deorbiter, by the way. That's why they're hitting you so hard. No, I know. It's fine. You know, we're going to send her ass to the front lines. She is going to go and militarily open the Strait of Hormuz. Okay, that's what she's going to do. Again, these people are fucking motionless in the goddamn real world, which is precisely why they try to generate motion by algorithmic boosts in a platform where the billionaire neo-Nazi owner of the platform openly despises me. Okay? Trump doubled down on the I don't care about American financial situation. Fuck, I missed
it. To $250. You know, it was $99 yesterday, $99 a barrel. I thought it might go up to $200. I was okay with that. Not that I wanted it, but you cannot let them have a nuclear weapon. They will use it
Forum
on
to correct post on a neo-Nazi site.
Israel, wipe it out. The Middle East, wipe it out. It'll go to Europe. You know, they have a missile that goes to Europe. You saw that, okay? They have a missile that goes to Europe. I have done Europe a very big favor. When you tell somebody you're going to have to pay a little more, not that much more.
I can't
a little more
rewind.
For gasoline.
You can rewind the broadcast by subscribing to the Piker Broadcasting Service for $6 or for free, but I can't rewind the Fox News live broadcast, unfortunately. But we'll see. ASIN probably
Everybody
post
says
it.
that's fine. And that question was a fake question, and they didn't put my full answer. I totally care. Look, I inherited high prices, and they came in with the word affordability. My first press conference, 2 days in, and Biden didn't do press conferences. He'd go for years without doing, because he was incapable of doing it. He was an incompetent person. But my first question was about eggs. Eggs have quadrupled. What are you going to do? I said,
Mate,
eggs,
feed art. Thank you for the 10 gifted decoy. Thank you for the 5 gifted.
Eggs have gone up 4 times.
Be kind. Rewind.
I'll take care of it. By the way, I did take care of it. But they came up with a word, because they are good. They're rotten with policy. They're horrible politicians. In many cases, we have a new name. They're Democrats. I call them Democrats, not Democrats. They're Democrats.
He's really going on and going in on
A lot of low
that.
IQ people. You have Ilhan Omar saying World War XI. She said she was referring to World War II. She said World War XI. These people are destroying our country, and we have to stop it. You know, President Xi said something yesterday. He talked about, and he wasn't referring to the last 15 months, he talked about America's a nation in decline. And I said, you're right. But he wasn't talking about, because he said, what you've done in 14, 15 months is a miracle.
When you hear Trump voters, Alex says, I voted for you 3 times. He can't handle the costs. And he's not for this foreign conflict.
I hate it, bro.
He's not for the foreign conflict. But Roy in Pennsylvania, he's a retired farmer. He can't handle the fuel going up. And he says he's
going to come down very fast. And well, so, look, disappointed.
I'm just telling you what they say.
When you say to him, Roy, Alex, we got a problem. We just hit the highest stock market price ever. By the way, then, when I went in. Now, again,
it's higher.
With the war, it's higher than it was when I went in. Think of that.
I agree.
The 401ks at their all-time high. There are more people working right now in the United States of America than at any point ever in the history of our country.
Detroit Free Press, a state that you won. While champagne flowed on the trading floor and President Donald Trump celebrated record highs, pessimism spread like wildfire outside Wall Street's doors, straight into the kitchens of average American families. There is this sense that, you know, something is changing. Whether they can hold on and believe that you're going to get them to know,
Brett, I have to do what's right. I said to my people, we just hit 50,000 on the Dow. That wasn't supposed to happen for 5 or 6 years. I did it in my first year. We just hit 7,000 on the S&P. That wasn't supposed. That was even less of a chance than the Dow. We have. It was just announced 401ks are at their all-time highest that they've ever been. All these things happened, and I said, I'm sorry to do this to you, but we have to stop this group of very crazy people. Now, those people are gone. They've been eliminated. The second group has been eliminated, and some of the third group. In a way, we've eliminated so many leaders that it's almost, I'm trying to figure out who the hell are we dealing with, all right?
Who are you dealing with?
But, well, we're dealing with people that I think are right, but they're afraid to make a deal. They don't know how to make a deal. They've never been put in this position before.
So you're going to hold out until they do?
Well, I'm going to do what's right. I have to do what's right.
But the strait should be open, right?
It should be open. Look, see, to stop the strait is very easy. All they have to do is say, we dropped a mine in the strait someplace. You know, see, we're at a little disadvantage, but that's okay. The strait will be open. They will not have a nuclear weapon, and the world will go on, and you will see gasoline prices drop, energy prices generally drop like no. Don't forget, they have a lot of boats that are loaded up with oil that are going to bring the oil out as soon as this is over. And I think
this interview is kind of interesting because, like, Brett Baer is kind of cooking him a little bit.
For many, many years with the strait.
Like,
you know, they've used this many times.
This is definitely a more contentious interview than what you would expect from Fox News.
They're not using it.
And I wonder if it's because they got the boss call because he's been too positive on China, or if it's because, like, they're starting to get annoyed with his lack of interest in affordability.
Sometimes,
yeah,
because it's starting to ruin. Because it's going to have like down ballot consequences.
Special report from Beijing with the President of the United States continues.
You know what I mean? Or maybe he's mad about the parking ticket in China, or maybe he's now a swagged out white Chinese boy like me. Yeah, we got the Brett Baer clip here ready to go. Let's take a look. It was right when I was looking at some dumb shit again. But here it is.
Democrats and political pundits jumped all over this statement that you made the other day. You were asked when you were leaving.
What extent are American financial situations motivating you to make a deal?
Not even a little bit. The only thing that matters that I'm talking about Iran, they can't have a nuclear weapon. I don't think about American financial situation. I don't think about anybody. I think about one thing. We cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. That's all.
That's right. That's a perfect statement. So, I'd make it again.
You can imagine how many people stopped the soundbite I don't think about America's financial situation. So,
I mean, that doesn't, it's not even the entire statement in and of itself is, I think random hallucinated fear is far more that random hallucinated fear that the Israelis have been promoting for a generation at this point is far more important to me than the immediate financial circumstances of American citizens. That's the full context here. Okay. Obviously, I'm framing it in a very negative manner, but like ultimately you're saying Iran having nukes is far more dangerous than Americans having to pay more for gas. Okay. That's what you're saying. I promise you, if you were to go out in the real world, you would be shocked with the responses by average Americans. Because American selfishness at the end of the day is the primary focus, right? If you were to ask Americans like, hey, Iran gets to have a nuclear weapon, but you get cheaper gas as a consequence of that, I don't know what Americans would say. I think pretty realistic framing when our own intelligence said Iran was not a threat, to be honest. Yes. But I'm just saying, like, even if you were to ask Americans like, hey, do you think it's, cheap gas, but Iran gets to have a nuke, which they can threaten Israel with? You don't want to know what Americans have to say about that. Okay. Oh boy. Americans would be like, give them 10 nukes. Can I give them some nukes of my own? Is it possible? Yeah, $2 gas, but Iran has a nuke. Yeah, America's about to be like, I will convert to Shia Islam.
She had the big pail of gasoline.
That wasn't me. There is a woman online who looks exactly like me, who had a Molotov cocktail. No, everyone was pro-Doge until they saw the fact that they were just removing inspectors generals that were investigating Elon Musk, for instance, or cutting civil service jobs that you then had to give back to people because that's how the government actually runs. The idea of the Trump administration running the intervention into fraud is so utterly laughable when you look at how much they are profiting off of their positions and off of the American people. Trump literally did say, I don't think about the financial situation. I don't think about anybody. That will be in all of the ads.
But wait a minute, let's give some context to that, because he was asked
about the war, right?
And then he said it's making sure they don't have a nuclear weapon.
Right, and then people heard that because they don't like this war. They don't think he's listening to them. They don't think he cares about their cost of living. So they heard the part where he says they can't have a nuclear weapon, and also I don't care how it's hitting you at home. I don't care about your gas.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty airtight, my queen. My queen, Jessica Tarlov, Jessica Escape from Tarkov, is correct.
Prices. I don't care about how much you're paying for groceries.
That's not what he said. That I think context.
That's not what he said.
It is what is underneath.
It's what you heard.
I don't think
it's what you heard. It's not what he said.
You have to.
She's yet to escape from Tarkov. Dude, is he doing like... Is he just leaning into the clip compies? Like, is he trying to see how low the bottom can go? It's genuinely shocking. This is a question.
You know, President Xi said...
Where President Xi said America's a nation in decline, and I said, you're right. What the fuck?
President Xi said something yesterday.
I mean, I know he's going to say, oh, he meant like Brandon, and I'm bringing it back, right? Like that's his like way of dancing around the issue. But I don't think that looks good at all.
He talked about, and he wasn't referring to the last 15 months, he talked about America's a nation in decline. And I said, you're right. But he wasn't talking about, because he said, what you've done in 14, 15 months is a miracle.
When you hear,
you know, President...
Oh my God. Is this real? The Ham 88, thank you for the 50 bones. Is this a fucking real photo?
That's the